Hey, what's up mortals? Davy Wavy here, and welcome to part 5 of What If Young Naruto and Sasuke Left Konoha. This story is by our writer AxleBoost. Its official title is One Steeped in Darkness. Axel has given us permission to use it on the channel. Links to the original fanfiction postings will be in the description. As always, just wanted to greet you all by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can access many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you need to know how to write scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered. With our link, you can access a 1-month free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get a month's worth of classes for free. Link is in the description below. Naruto and Sasuke slipped off their backpacks and sat at opposite ends of the edge of a floating cube. Obito stood behind them, his demeanor far more casual than one would expect for someone who just kidnapped 2 children. Or at least, Naruto thought so. "We'll need to hide out here for a while," Obito explained. "The Leaf will search high and low for you once they notice you're not in the village anymore." Neither of the kids spoke, instead busying themselves with various items in their travel bags. They shared a suspicious glance, sizing one another up. "What's the matter?" Obito said, craning his neck. "Having second thoughts?" The silence continued. Removing his mask and sighing, Obito approached the cube's edge and sat between the 2 boys. "Look," he said, "I am here to help both of you. Whatever you were to each other in your old lives isn't important anymore." Flashbacks of being looked down on by Sasuke made Naruto ball his fists. Whatever Sasuke was thinking about him produced similar results. Obito held out a hand in either direction. "If you really must hold on to this grudge, then here's an idea. Use that emotion to fuel your training. Do your best to surpass one another and become stronger together." Sasuke scoffed. "I'm already stronger than him." Naruto flushed red, blubbering out, "Oh yeah? That's what you think? I've got the power of a..." He put his foot in his mouth, throwing his new guardian a nervous glance. Was talking about the 9-tailed fox off limits? He hadn't thought this far ahead. Sensing the reason for his sudden silence, Obito nodded. He got up and stepped back to give them space. "You can tell him. There are no secrets here." Sasuke raised an eyebrow, waiting for an explanation. His gaze drifted from Obito back to Naruto, who was looking down. "Sasuke, Naruto shook his head. "Do you know about the 9-tailed fox's attack on the village?" "You mean the one from when we were babies?" Naruto gave a soft nod. The Uchiha boy's face scrunched up in understandable confusion as he tried to fit the puzzle pieces together. Finding no connection, he said, "Of course I know about it. Why?" Taking a steadying breath, Naruto looked to Obito again, who spectated in silence. The man oozed an aura of almost mocking curiosity. This would usually have irritated Naruto, but he drew strength from having Obito there for support. He had no idea how Sasuke might react to the news. Would he shun him like the other villagers, right after they just shook on starting over as a family? "Well, here goes nothing," he said to himself. "Sasuke, the fox wasn't just defeated that day. The 4th Hokage sealed it away." "Sealed it away? Where?" Naruto gulped. "In me." The overwhelming quiet that fell over the 3 of them made Naruto buzz with anxiety. What would Sasuke say? What would he do? Antsy and uncomfortable, the blonde began to shift from one foot to the other. Sasuke cocked his head to one side. "You? Really? You've got a monster like that sealed into you?" He walked closer to Naruto and peered into his eyes, as if trying to confirm the tale. "Yeah." Naruto arched his back to avoid Sasuke being so far into his personal space. "Wild, right?" The latter's hard squint pierced Naruto, as if his former classmate was looking straight into his soul. The black-haired child pulled back and crossed his arms, his expression blank. When at last he spoke, it was with a tone much calmer than Naruto would have expected. "Then why are you so weak?" The words were delivered with such genuine confusion, lacking any of Sasuke's usual snark. He was so earnest, Naruto almost forgot to get upset. Almost. "You jerk!" he bit back. He hit Sasuke on the shoulder in what he hoped was a playful manner. They'd promised to put things behind them, so Naruto figured he would try his best to be nice to the Uchiha, even at times when he was a hard guy to like. The gesture was well received for the most part. Sasuke flinched at first, unsure what to make of the reaction. Then he registered that it wasn't an invitation to fight and chuckled in his typical annoying way. Naruto growled, but Sasuke just shook his head in amusement. "Wipe that smug look off your face," Naruto said. "I'm not weak, you hear me? I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm gonna surpass you someday." Whatever you say. They held one another's gaze, neither wanting to look away first. Their matching intensity sent a charge through the air. Despite their young ages, they had history. They'd butted heads for the entirety of their academy days. That kind of rivalry wasn't going to disappear overnight. Obito's suggestion repeated over and over in Naruto's head. They were supposed to become stronger together? That seemed impossible. Naruto found it hard to see Sasuke as anything more than an overrated jerk who looked down on everyone else. If what Obito said was true though, the leaf had hurt them both, so maybe Sasuke had his reasons. Memories of seeing him down by the water, staring off into the distance, resurfaced. Sometimes, when no one else was around, Naruto would look at Sasuke and wonder if he hated feeling alone too. Maybe if they were both going through the same thing, they could understand each other. Every time, though, the kid's angry scowl would erase any hope of that from Naruto's mind. He'd glare or stick out his tongue and go on about his business. Even so, the desire to connect with Sasuke always came back for some reason. Whatever Obito knew about the young Uchiha, it seemed to confirm what Naruto always believed. He and Sasuke were the same. Trying to be the bigger person, Naruto swallowed his pride and broke eye contact. Obito hummed in detached interest, but didn't intrude on the interaction. Sasuke followed Naruto's example and tried to move on. His hands found their way to his pockets. "Anyway," Naruto said, "let's worry about getting to Mr. Obito's place first." Sasuke redirected his attention to Obito. "When can we leave?" "Soon," Obito assured him. He made a wide gesture. "I have a friend on the outside who's making preparations." "Preparations?" Naruto parroted. "Yes. When we leave this dimension, my friend will be waiting for us. He's going to watch over you when I can't be around." "What?" Naruto almost whined. "Why won't you be able to stay with us?" Sasuke directed a sharp stare at Obito. "You never mentioned that before." "That's because it's not important." He was quick to defend. "I have to go out sometimes to take care of things, to meet with others like you, who have something against the Leaf Village. But you'll still see me just about every day when I have free time." "Wait a sec," Naruto said. "Are you taking care of other kids besides us?" Obito laughed. "No, they're not kids. Actually, I run an organization called the Akatsuki. Together, we're going to make a better world for everyone. Reaching out to the two of you was part of that goal. It's one more step toward us building a world where no one has to suffer the way you two did." He looked from one boy to the other. "So what does this Akatsuki want with us?" Sasuke probed. He was much more difficult to convince. Obito's jaw twitched, in what Naruto guessed was mild irritation, but he didn't lash out. "The Akatsuki take my orders. It's not them who wanted you on our side. I made that decision on my own." Sasuke relaxed his shoulders, seeming satisfied with the answer. Obito donned his mask again and turned away. "I need to go check on some things. Then I'll bring you two some food." The smirk in his voice was audible as he spun another portal to life. "Try not to kill each other while I'm gone, okay?" With a hollow whir, the portal carried him off to someplace else. Naruto and Sasuke turned to each other. "You think he'll forget about us?" Naruto said. Sasuke didn't reply. The blonde's face dropped in terror as a million awful scenarios played out in his head. What if Obito was just tricking us to get us here and then leave us stranded? Or what if he doesn't remember to bring back food? I mean, I brought some ramen, but there's no hot water to boil it with. And I only have a few. I guess it's enough to live off for a few days, even if I have to eat it dry." Still, there was no response. Naruto gasped. I mean, you can have some too if you want." His fellow rogue ninja snorted. "Would you cut it out? I'm being serious here." The raven-haired boy rolled his eyes. "I don't want any of your ramen, Naruto. Besides, I brought some nutrition bars with me just in case." "That stuff's gross. Ramen's way better. You're such a child. What do you mean? You're not that much older than me. Their conversation carried on in this fashion for quite some time. Sure, Naruto got more riled up the longer it went on. Sure, Sasuke was just as much of a smelly turd as always, but something about this time felt different than all of the others back at the academy. The village was a thing of the past. All they had now was each other. No words were needed for Naruto to tell Sasuke could feel it too. There was an unspoken shift in their relationship. They both knew loneliness, and something told Naruto that neither of them liked the idea of being stuck in a strange place for who knew how long with someone they hated. However, Obito may have been onto something. If they could find a way to hate each other a little less, maybe this could work. Maybe he and Sasuke really could become like brothers. Time flew by, and before long, Obito landed with a gentle tap on the floating cube's surface. He reached out to present the bags of food he promised. Both boys took hesitant steps toward him, grabbing one bag each. Obito removed his mask and grinned. It's time to go home. Hiruzen Sarutobi glared at the delirious man behind a one-way glass partition. Two fresh-faced, motionless guards were posted on opposite sides of the entrance. A man whose leaf headband covered his head like a bandana let himself into the interrogation room. He kept a perpetual stern expression, and two long scars marred his face. Ibiki Morino closed the door behind him with a foot. The two subordinates by the entrance turned a few shades paler the second they laid eyes on him. Ibiki strode around to the front of the chair where Danzo Shimura awaited him. He reared back and roused Danzo to consciousness with a resounding smack. The elderly man's body gasped to life. He swept the room with a wild, unfocused eye, the other covered by bandages. Danzo Shimura, Ibiki said in a monotone but firm voice. You are in violation of a direct decree by Lord Third. You have continued covert operations of the Foundation without the public's knowledge after the Hokage's official disbandment of the organization. How do you respond? Danzo examined the chakra-infused binds on his hands and feet, grunting and trying to free himself rather than answer. Ibiki's icy gaze fell on the disgraced Leaf Elder, refusing to relent. Hiruzen whispered into his earpiece. Ibiki froze for a moment to take in the words, then kicked one leg of Danzo's chair. The guards twitched at the unexpected move, eliciting a soft smirk from Ibiki. He always took a rather sick pleasure in watching the new recruits get broken in. However, what mattered most to Hiruzen was his loyalty and stellar ability to get results. You are not leaving here until you're permitted to do so, Ibiki said. Danzo stopped resisting and slumped into his chair. Is Hiruzen there? Danzo asked, casting a weary glance up at the tinted glass. Don't worry about who's back there, Ibiki said, stepping into his captive's line of sight. You're dealing with me. The Hokage's breath caught. In spite of everything his childhood best friend had done, in spite of all of his insubordination and extreme views, it hurt Hiruzen to see the man he once fought alongside in such a pitiful condition. Sweat drenched him, and he was bruised on his face and shoulder, the latter of which looked mangled almost beyond recognition. The copious amounts of gauze dressing his various wounds were stained with splotches of red. Itachi really hadn't been joking about Danzo being left in bad shape. I want to speak to Hiruzen, Danzo spat through labored breaths. Answer for your crimes, Ibiki countered, and perhaps that can be arranged. Hiruzen! Danzo cried out, ignoring his arbiter. You're listening, aren't you? While Danzo struggled against his bindings, Ibiki nodded toward the two guards, who sprang into action. They approached from either side and grabbed Danzo's shoulders at Ibiki's request. Hiruzen! Hiruzen! The subdued man continued to shout. We need to talk! I have urgent intel about Itachi Uchiha! Ibiki tuned out the elder's ramblings and raised a gloved hand. Chakra gathered in his arm in preparation for casting a jutsu. However, he stopped short and dispersed his buildup of chakra. His earpiece crackled to life with new orders. Ibiki held up a finger to silence the guard so he could absorb every word. When the message was finished, he sighed before gesturing for the guards to release their holds on Danzo. Well, well, the interrogation specialist said. Today might just be your lucky day, Mr. Shimura. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, we've got a primary channel called We the Celestials. We the Celestials is what we do here already, but their content centered around the crazy world and lore of My Hero Academia. So please, check us out over there if you're feeling in the mood for a roller coaster of quirky content. We also have another relative to our channel, Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It's guaranteed to expand your weeb knowledge of all kinds of series. On behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, then I would like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being, we only accept members 16 and older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up for whichever category of work fulfills your interests. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day.